On the vast stage of human exploration of space, the space station plays an important role and has attracted widespread attention. As a spacecraft that accommodates scientific instruments and the work and life of astronauts, the space station is not only an important tool for human space exploration, but also an indispensable part of the space strategy of major powers. However, in the fierce competition among countries around the world to cooperate and explore space, India recently took a shocking step. According to Indian media reports, they claimed that China's space station would be useless without the core equipment provided by India. What is even more surprising is that they also claim that the success of China's space station mainly relies on technology provided by India. So what exactly is going on? Welcome to World Hotspot, where you will be able to learn about projects, cooperation around the world and important information about China. I hope you can subscribe to me. Let us discover more interesting things around the world together. The story all starts in 2019, when China issued a solicitation announcement for scientific experiments and technology test projects on the space station. It is understood that 9 projects from 17 countries were successfully selected, including a nebula gas spectrometry research project jointly conducted by India and Russia. As we all know, conducting experiments requires corresponding experimental equipment, and these equipment are provided by the applicant. According to regulations, this scientific equipment will be transported to China at the end of 2022, and will be transported to the space station along with Tianzhou 6 for experiments. However, China's Tianzhou 6 has been launched and the 2023 space station project has begun soliciting, but Indian equipment has not yet appeared. It is understood that this is all due to the obstruction of the Indian government. The reason is that in 2022, India's Institute of Astrophysics has applied for an export license for equipment from the Indian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. However, according to Hong Kong media reports, the equipment developed by the Indian Institute has not yet obtained an export license from India, causing export delays. This also cost the Institute of Astrophysics in India 2 years and $50,000 in equipment, which ended up being stored in a dust-free warehouse. Because of this, the Indian media has trumpeted that the Chinese space station cannot operate without Indian equipment. As the rumor spread, it eventually evolved into claims that Indian equipment became the core equipment of the Chinese space station. As an emerging space power, India has made significant progress in the field of space technology. For example, not long ago, India's Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft successfully landed on the Moon, becoming the first country to land on the south pole of the Moon. Although India's space technology has developed rapidly in recent years, they do not yet have their own space station. Breaking off relations with China at this time is obviously an irrational act, so why would India take such a move? This question arouses people's curiosity and thinking. Most people believe that this may be the result of India feeling competitive pressure from China's rise in the space field, and they are trying to maintain regional influence by improving their status. In fact, there are 2 main reasons for India to take this action. First of all, India has always regarded China as a target that it wants to surpass. However, China's economic growth has been too fast in recent years. For example, China's GDP in 2019 was $14.28 trillion, and by 2022, China's GDP will grow to $17.96 trillion. In just 3 years, China's GDP increased by $3.7 trillion. It is understood that India's GDP in 2019 was $2.85 trillion. As a country that aspires to surpass China, it is very worrying that India's annual economic growth rate cannot match that of China. More importantly, India's economic growth has encountered a bottleneck in recent years and the growth rate is slow. In order to curb China's development and avoid its own economic backwardness, India has come up with many ways. For example, increasing tariffs on ores will cost China an additional $1 billion per year. In addition, India has also cracked down on Chinese companies in India, imposing a fine of $80 million on Xiaomi and freezing its assets of $725 million. Therefore, one of the purposes of this space station speech against China is to suppress China's economic growth rate. Secondly, as an emerging economy and a populous country, India has always had lofty space dreams. Over the years, the Indian Space Research Organization has been working hard to improve India's aerospace technology level, and has gradually demonstrated its strength through a series of launch missions and the successful development of space probes. For example, in August 2023, India's Chand-3 successfully landed on the Moon. Unfortunately, India lags behind China in its development in the space field. Taking satellites as an example, China's Beidou positioning system started development in 1994 and provided experimental services for the first time in 2000. After more than 20 years of development, it has now become a world-class satellite navigation system. However, India's IRNSS system started late, starting in 1999, and did not launch its first navigation satellite until 2013. More importantly, China has successfully launched 65 satellites, while India has only 7 satellites. It is understood that although India's IRNSS system only has 7 satellites, however, India can achieve partial coverage by relying only on these 7 satellites, but the positioning capability of this system is relatively weak. For example, the IRNSS system can only locate some large buildings but cannot identify small buildings. Therefore, when Indian residents drive to find their destination, they often have errors of more than 10 kilometers from the target location, which seriously affects the navigation experience. In contrast, China's Beidou satellite positioning system can accurately reach every building, and its measurement accuracy can reach 2 centimeters and the elevation accuracy can reach 5 centimeters. Having such a system can almost be said to be a powerful weapon against criminals. Due to the huge gap between the two countries in the space field, India simply cannot catch up with China in a short period of time. Therefore, India hopes to criticize China's space station through media channels to indirectly affect the speed of China's development in the space field. Of course, the most important thing is to hope that other countries will believe these rumors, thereby canceling cooperation with China, and giving India the opportunity to cooperate with these countries. Once these countries partner with India, India has a good chance of getting investments, which will boost its economy and fuel the growth of space technology. Therefore, it is very beneficial for Indian media to publish this information. As we all know, China today is no longer a little lion that can be bullied by others, but an awakening dragon. Therefore, China is bound to respond to India's provocation. It is understood that China has responded through trade. For example, the total bilateral trade between China and India in 2020 was $77 billion, a 17.1% decrease from 2019. Among them, China's exports to India were $58.7 billion, a decrease of 13.2%. Imports from India were $18.3 billion, a decrease of 26.7%. However, targeting India solely through trade means will not have much impact on India's development. In effect, China could take action to restrict India's space station project. For example, China can refuse to pass all microgravity physical science projects, thereby limiting India's development speed in the space field.